Hey, my name is Athena and this is part 1 of my June wrap-up. So in this video I'm going to talk to you about some of the books I read in June, and then part 2 will contain the other books that I read in June. The first book that I actually finished in June is Kees book 4 op Kamp by Mirjam Oldenhave, illustrated by Haas. But I actually talked about this book in my May wrap-up at part 4 at the very end, because I was confused at the time and I thought I finished it in May. So if you want to know about this book, I will leave a link to that video down below. The next book I finished in June is Key Lime by Murder by Joanne Fluke. This is book 9 in the Hannah Swensen series. I've talked about this series more often on my channel. I read about 1 book a month with my friend Sarah. So I will leave links down below when I talked about this series previously. This was another enjoyable instrument in the series. This is a cozy mystery series. Our main character Hannah owns a bakery shop, cookie shop called The Cookie Jar, and she bakes and sells cookies and other pastries and also coffee. This one has to do with a murder that happens at the Tri-County Fair, which Hannah is there and hears the murder happen. And yeah, I really enjoy reading about these characters. So like the murder mystery is part of the story, but also a lot of the story is about the characters and what they're going through and everything. Because it takes a little bit of time before the murder actually happens. But yeah, I really enjoy this series and reading about all these characters that I've come to grow and love. And I also learned that apparently key lime is, because I didn't know that in the Netherlands, in Dutch, I mean, we have one word for lime, which is limoen. So I didn't know that like key lime and lime, so that's like 2 different kinds. And well, so I learned that from this book because I was curious about the, the title and everything. The key lime pie is in the book, and also these books contain recipes. Now I haven't tried any of them myself. Yeah, they are in there for if you want them, and maybe I'll try something at some point. So yeah, this was another enjoyable cozy mystery. Moving on to the next book. And the next 2 bits I read are actually 2 short stories written by Kevvie from C'est Kevvie. She has a booktube channel, and I was able to read these short stories for free on the website that she linked somewhere. I'll definitely leave a link to her channel down below. Go watch her, she's amazing and funny, and I like watching her videos. The first one I read is called Here Comes Suzy Snowflake. This is not really that long, but it was a short kind of Christmas themed story, and I found it enjoyable. And the second one I read is Chicago Beauty, which is book 1 in the Wilhelmina murders series, and I hope that Kevvie writes more of them because I really enjoyed this one. So this was a murder mystery. Our main character is a person, and I'm sorry I forgot his name because it's been a month since I read this. And a murder happens in the I'm trying to remember, it was I can't remember exactly if it was like a department shop where he works, and so he is assisting Wilhelmina solving this murder, and but this murder happens at his place of work. Yeah, anyway, I'm sorry, I don't quite remember. I really liked also how some like current themes woven into the story, and I really like the writing, and I hope that Kevvie will write more in this series because I really enjoy it. So again, I will leave links to her channel and everything, and the video when she talks about it and stuff down below in the description. The next book that I finished in June is My Sister the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Braithwaite, and This is a kind of thriller. I'd heard people talk about this. I wasn't quite sure what I was getting into with this. I really enjoyed it. Here is the back of the book. This book is about Correde and her sister Ayola. And her sister, as the clue is in the title, to read you the back, it says Ayola's third boyfriend in a row is dead, stabbed through the heart with Ayola's knife, and Correde helps her clean up this murder. So it's basically about the relationship between her and her sister, and murders. And Correde is a nurse, I think. She works at the hospital. There's a doctor at the hospital that she has a crush on. This was a fast read. Well, more people have talked about this book in a probably better way than I can. This was a fast read. The chapters were also short, and yeah, I liked it. It's kind of a dark book, but it also has some humor in it. It won't appeal to everyone, but yeah, I enjoyed it. The next book that I finished in June is The House at the Edge of Magic by Amy Sparks. This book I buddy read together with Julie from the Hungry Bookworm, and Linda from Linda's Older Books, and we decided to buddy read this book together. Here is the back. This is book 1 in, I'm not sure actually what the series is called. It might just be called The House at the Edge of Magic, I'm not sure. This book is about Nine, who is an orphan, but she has to steal things from people and give them to the person, I can't remember his name now, who is giving her and the other orphans a place to stay, and in return for that they have to steal things and give them to him. And so one thing, she steals this little item, which turns out to be a miniature house, which then gets big, and certain characters live in the house, but the house is sort of cursed. The font is quite big. This is written for, I would say, this is a children's book, but it's written for younger children rather than older children, if that makes sense. At least that was what the three of us kind of felt. There's definitely some whimsy in there, in most stuff happens that goes on inside the house, and I enjoyed it. We enjoyed it, but we didn't love it. Sometimes it got a bit much, the whimsy, and yeah, I don't know. It could also be because it appeals more to younger children. Whereas I think the three of us prefer to read books for a bit of older children. So yeah, this was nice, but not amazing. But I'm really glad I got to buddy read it, because that was a very fun experience. Then the next book I finished in June is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, book 3, Percy Jackson and the Timeless Curse. I buddy read this book together with Emily from Novelle Novels, and by the way, I will leave links to all the people I mentioned, the channels, in the description, as I always do. So this is book 3 in the Percy Jackson series. We've been buddy reading this series this year, and we'll also read books 4 and 5 later this year. And we both really enjoyed this third book. It would be spoilers to say too much about this book, because it is book 3 in the series, and the story in this kind of follows on a bit from book 2. But yeah, this series is about Percy Jackson, who is a half-god, so he is the son of a Greek gods. This has a lot of Greek mythology interwoven in it, and characters from that mythology, which is an aspect I personally really like. There's quite a bit of action in these books, and they're written in a kind of funny way, at least in my opinion. Chapter titles can be funny, and yeah, I really enjoyed reading this book, and I look forward to read the next two. They're quite quick reads as well. And yeah, so Percy also has ADHD, which then has to do with the fact that his brain is kind of wired for the Greek alphabet because he's a half-god, but he didn't know that until he was, well, in the beginning of book 1. He finds that out. Anyway, yeah. I really enjoyed this series. This is a middle grade series. Or, well, I say children's book for older children, but the English-speaking world says middle grade. So. Then I read We Are Okay by LaCour. This is a young adult contemporary, and I've had this book on my shelves for some years, and then I wanted to read it, but then for the longest time I could not find it. So some years ago, I can't remember exactly, somebody mentioned it, was like, oh, I want to read that now. And I tried to find it among my shelves and I couldn't. This was in the old house. And then we moved here, and so I had to pack up all my books and everything, and I eventually found it. And now I read it. That was a long introduction, I'm sorry. This is the first book I think that I'm reading by this author. I have a couple more by her on my shelf. And this book has quite a bit of a theme of grief in it. So our main character is called Mirjam, and she is just starting college. Yeah, the synopsis is not revealing something, so I think I should not either. Anyway, so she is alone in college, but the college, she is there in the for winter break. Oh, so she has started college. She's there during the winter break. She is staying there, whereas a lot of the other students, they go home. But yeah, basically, it's hard to say things without spoiling. But anyway, I really like this book. Yeah, it has to do with grief. It is also sapphic. I hope that's not a spoiler. And from what I can remember, the chapters, yeah, so some of the chapters take place in like the nowadays timeline, which is Mirjam at college during winter break, at the dorm, and then Mabel is coming to visit Mirjam. And some of the chapters, like for example here, chapter 3 there, it says May. I hope you can see that. So some of these chapters are in the past, and we see kind of what's led up to the point in the nowadays timeline, if that makes sense. And so that's how the story is told. You can also tell because, so the book is in first person, and the chapters in the nowadays timeline are in present tense, and the ones in the past timeline are in past tense. But it says above those chapters, like here as well, it says May, whereas the nowadays chapters, like it doesn't say anything. So that also tells you if it's like a past or a present chapter, if that makes sense. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. It's not a long book. But young adult contemporary is one of my favorite things to read. So yeah, this book is, well, at least my edition is like 230 something pages. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. And then the last book that I wanted to talk about in this video is The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. And I thought this was a good place to split the video into two, because this is about halfway with the amount of books that I read, and also this is a very good one to end on because this was my favorite book that I read in June. I did have one reread that will come in the next video. I'm not counting that one because that's like, I also have nostalgic feelings for that, and so if that wasn't a reread, that would definitely be also a favorite read. But I thought I'll pick one, that'd be this one, and the reread is kind of something on its own. Anyway, rambling. This is also a young adult contemporary, but it has some like fantastical elements. This book also has a theme of grief, and I love this. Well, first let me tell you what it's about. Here is the back of it. I've had this on my shelf for a bit as well. So this book is about Leigh, and her mother dies by suicide. Mother leaves behind a note, but Leigh doesn't quite understand this note. The note says, "I want you to remember." Now, just before the mother passed away, Leigh and her best friend Axel, they kissed, and then things changed between them. So she wished she could talk to him about what happened with her mother, but things are kind of like awkward between them at the moment. Now, Lay lives in, I don't quite remember where in the United States, but somewhere in the United States. It's been a while since I read this, and I don't quite remember where. But Lay's mother is from Taiwan, and so Lay travels to Taiwan and meets her grandparents for the first time. And she believes her mother has changed into this red bird. And it's just beautiful. It had short chapters. I really like the writing style. I like learning more about the Taiwanese culture of Lay's grandparents' family. And yeah, this was a great read, and one that I think will be nice to reread as well at some point in the future. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was like heartbreaking sometimes, but yeah, this was an amazing read. 10 out of 10 in my rating system, or 5 stars if you will. And yeah, I love this. Thank you for watching part 1 of my June wrap up. I will now go and film part 2, but you won't see that until a bit later because I don't want to put 2 videos up at the same time. Plus I still have to edit them, of course. I've only just finished editing my May videos, which is why they were a bit late. So I'm sorry about that. I was not feeling well for a few weeks. I was having a lot of migraines. Gladly that's better now. But so there was a while where I couldn't edit my videos or use the computer much or anything. And so there were no videos on my channel for a while. By the time you see this, it'll be like a month from when I'm filming this, because I have the May videos scheduled now. The first one's only just gone up because it is now beginning of June as I'm filming this. No, July. Can you believe we're already in July? I can barely believe. By the time you watch this, it'll probably be like August, but okay. In the future, I might try to actually like film clips of the books as I finish them and then make that into a wrap up, because I find it's been a while since I read some of these books and then I can't remember them as much. But I remember back in the day when I used to do individual book reviews, those who've been watching me for a long time will have seen them. This was back in, I think, so I started my channel I uploaded my first video summer 2018. So this was in like summer, the second half of 2018. And throughout 2019, I think. I don't know at what point I switched, but that's not important right now. Well, sometime in 2019 perhaps, or 2020. But then I used to, like, I had to film the video as soon as I'd finished the book. And sometimes I would actually put off finishing a book because I didn't feel up for filming a video, particularly if it's like later in the day and I'm just mentally not able to do that. So yeah, that was not the best feeling a situation, but I will see how it goes. For once, I'm actually filming my wrap up not long after actually finishing these books and not like recording it even later. And anyway, rambling. Thank you very much for watching this video. Like and comment if you want to, and I hope to see you in my next one, which will be, or should be, June wrap up part 2. And yeah, I hope you have a nice day. Bye.